Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Binyam Gatana. Do stay tuned. And now the news in detail. The Office of Ethiopian Prime Minister announced that Brooke Tayesa has been appointed Director General of the Capital Market Authority as of November 30, 2022. According to the announcement, Brooke and 6 other members will sit in the authority's board of directors. And the newly established Ethiopian Anti-Corruption National Committee announced that the clampdown on corruption has begun earnest. In a statement here today, the committee disclosed that the arrest of individuals at various levels for alleged involvement in theft and grand corruption, including Director General of the Financial Security Service, Tedros Bekele, Information Network Management, National Security Service, police, prosecutors and judges. Johannes Fantaun has the following account.
The National Committee, which started with the announcement of officials suspected of various crimes of corruption, commenced its operation focusing on land and public housing management, security and justice sector, financial sector, government revenue and customs system, as well as service delivery, administration and government procurement sectors. According to the official statement by the committee, the suspects are being investigated. The Minister of Justice and a member of the Anti-Corruption National Committee, Gideon Timotheos, said the following regarding the alleged crimes committed by the suspects.
Suspects have been identified who misuse their power in the justice and security sector to take money and wealth from individuals and business organizations in various illegal ways, ignoring their responsibility to protect the peace and security of the country. Based on this, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia's Director General of Financial Security, Tedros Bekele, different level officials from National Information and Security and Information Network Management have been arrested on suspicion of crimes. It is known that recently, officials, policemen and judges who were suspected of various crimes have been arrested and charged with crimes.
Tamasgen Trunas, the chairman of the committee and the head of the National Intelligence Security Service, said that the work was started because citizens are finding it difficult to get the service they need without bribery and theft, and corrupt practices are spreading, and it is important to control and enforce law.
ሙስና ሀገር እያጠፋ ነው ግልጽ ነው ሌብነት አሁን በግልጽ እየተደረገ ነው
Corruption is destroying the country. Nowadays, theft is being done openly. We have to bring to justice big and small corrupt people. While we are monitoring the big corrupt people, the small corrupt people are harming the society in a big way.
More than 250 tip-offs were collected from the community in just 1 week since the establishment of the National Anti-Corruption Committee. It is to be recalled that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced on November 17, 2022, the establishment of the new Ethiopian National Anti-Corruption Committee to fight and prevent corruption and organized theft in the country.
In other news, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed extended best wishes and congratulatory message to the President of United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, and people of the country on the celebration of UAE's 51st National Day marked today. UAE National Day is celebrated every year on the 2nd of December to mark the unification of all 7 Emirates into one nation. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in his message expressed his best wishes to the President and people of UAE. Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme disclosed that it will provide all the necessary support in cooperation for Ethiopia's work to rehabilitate war-torn areas. Minister of Foreign Affairs Demeqa Mekonnen held discussion with the head of the United Nations Development Programme, Achim Steiner, at his office today. During their meeting, Mekonnen explained the current situation in the northern part of the country and the government's determination to implement the peace agreement. Achim Steiner, on his part, appreciated the government's determination to end the problems in the northern part of the country through a peace agreement and assured his organization will provide all the necessary support and cooperation to rebuild the war-torn areas. In other domain, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs urged Ethiopian diplomats to promote their country's untapped tourism potential globally. Ethiopian diplomats have visited the Gorgora Tourism Development Site, which is one of the 3 prospective tourist attractions being undertaken under the Dine for Nation initiative. Diplomats said they were impressed by the Gorgora scenery of Gorgora and visible diligence shown to complete the project. Jerusalem Beza takes us to that.
70 Ethiopian diplomats were accompanied by State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, Ambassador Birtukan Ayano, and State Minister of Tourism, Seleshi Girma, have visited the Gorgora Tourism Development Site with the aim of promoting Ethiopia's tourism resource globally. The diplomats have visited the gorgeous scenery of Gorgora site, which is a remarkable historic port town on the shores of Lake Tana. Talking to ETV, diplomats stated that the project exhibits that it's possible to implement big ideas and projects in a short period.
This is really remarkable project. We have great responsibilities in attracting foreign investors to invest here in these tourism projects, as well as we have to also engage in promoting these projects to visitors worldwide.
The uniqueness of this project is they have been constructed with the aim of promoting Ethiopia's architectural values. We are so happy and highly inspired to promote Ethiopia's such tourism sites.
State Minister of Tourism Seleshi Girma on his part said the visit has created a great platform to Ethiopian diplomats to promote tourism resources of the country and to create a market linkage in the global market.
This visit like this is a significant platform for Ethiopia diplomats to create awareness and understanding about the country's tangible and intangible ways to efficiently promote and market them. In general, these diplomats will be remedies to promote Ethiopia's vision of tourism globally.
State Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Birtukan Ayano, urged Ethiopian diplomats to leave their legacy in promoting their country's untapped tourism potential globally.
These diplomats have a great responsibility in collecting financial support for the project. Moreover, Ethiopian diplomats to leave their legacy in promoting the immense tourism potential of the country and market them.
Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed introduced Gorgora, Wenchi and Koisha projects in August 2020 under the nationwide Dine for Nation initiative. The government is developing these projects with own resource, it was noted.
You're watching at this news hour now. Moving on. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs told reporters that the peace deal between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front is getting more and more international support. While briefing reporters, the spokesperson Meles Alam said the government is currently mobilizing resources for reconstruction work at the war-distracted areas. Alam further briefed rehabilitating the citizens who were displaced by the war and returning them to their homes is being done. Likewise, in the past 2 years, Ethiopia achieved successful diplomatic mission through the effectiveness of the country's appointment of ambassadors, scholars, and relevant government officials, the spokesperson said. As far as citizen-oriented diplomacy, 4,300 Ethiopians have been repatriated from Zambia, Yemen, Saudi Arabia in the last week, ETV learned.
After the peace agreement signed between the federal government and TPLF, peace is being restored in Ethiopia. In this December, we will bring to you fresh stories about the implementation of the peace agreement and other socio-economic and political matters of the country. Watch us on English language channel every day at 9 p.m.
ETV English, the voice of Renaissance and diversity, will bring you up to speed with latest developments regarding New Year and Christmas, especially Ethiopian Christmas named Ganna. Follow us on social media platforms. Stay tuned to ETV Language channel.
32 countries are contending to lift up the most prestigious cup in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. This December, ETV Language will provide the World Cup updates. Stay tuned to ETV Languages.
Well, moving on, the Ministry of Innovation and Technology said the 17th Internet Governance Forum was fruitful for developing world, mobilizing various platforms to eradicate backwardness. The 17th Internet Governance Forum concluded today by bringing critical solutions on internet governance over the past 5 days in Addis Ababa. Speaking on the occasion, State Minister for Innovation and Technology, Huria Ali, said the conference was vital.
5,120 on-site and off-site participants from all over more than 170 countries, 17 ministries, and 18 parliamentarians. 35 countries also took precious time out of their busy schedule to join us here. All of you allocated your previous times to be with us in Ethiopia this week.
According to Huria, her ministry is recognizing all stakeholders and precedented efforts in organizing the forum in the capital of Africa enthusiastically.
We are extremely grateful for our collaboration with the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the IGF Secretariat, and UNECE. We thank UNECE not only for their support for the conference, but also for their strong commitment to digital agenda of Africa and Ethiopia. I thank the leadership of Mr. Paul, the chair of the multi-stakeholder advisor group of the IGF, as well as all fellow of MAG members.
Another domain, the International Committee of the Red Cross said over 16 heavy trucks which carry 200 tons humanitarian supplies have arrived safely in Mekelle town in the Tigray region. The stated amount of humanitarian supplies have been transported by International Red Cross Committee and Ethiopian Red Cross Society heavy trucks. The ICRC stated that the humanitarian supplies, which are food and non-food items, and medical equipment, among other supplies, have made it to the Tigray capital, Mekelle town, in the region. Meanwhile, the unfettered flow of humanitarian aid to Tigray is said to be easing burdens for the people in war-torn Tigray. Lauding the government's initiative to end deadly war through peace with the TPLF, residents in Shire, a town now breathing an air for peace following 2 years of heavy fighting, further pointed out that the resumption of basic services must remain a topmost priority. Let's take a look.
It is to be noted that the government, in addition to providing uninterrupted humanitarian support and rehabilitation activities in all parts of Tigray region, it has been exerting efforts to resume basic services. According to the National Disaster and Risk Management Commission, 32,000 metric tons of food and non-food items have been delivered to the region following the peace agreement. More than 535,000 citizens in the area from Shiraro to Adwa alone have received humanitarian support. Residents of Shire City have told the ANA's correspondent on the ground that the uninterrupted humanitarian support has rescued many lives.
We
want the humanitarian assistance to be delivered to the lower level of administration. The suffering of the people should stop once and for all. The peace agreement is a great deal for us. Now the government needs to supply more food and non-food items to the affected people, mobilizing non-governmental organizations and the business people.
The people of Tigray have been suffering a lot with deprivation of basic needs and services. We accepted the peace deal with lots of joy. Still now we have problems in water and electricity supply. Lots of services are already shut down. We expect more to be done to help the people get back to normalcy.
The residents said that hadn't the government provided massive food, pharmaceuticals and medical equipment following the peace agreement, the lives of many people would have been at big risk. The determination of the government in providing sustained support is therefore appreciable. The resident further urged that the strengthening of efforts to resume basic services alongside providing humanitarian support. The National Disaster and Risk Management Commission Secretariat Head, Zarihun Zaude, affirmed on his part that humanitarian support has so far been provided for more than 535,000 citizens from Shiraro to Adwa.
From the government side, efforts are being well underway and hundreds of lorries are transporting basic services to the affected people. From Shiraro to Adwa, supplies are being distributed. The crisis committee is doing well. Food and non-food items are being supplied. The government is facilitating humanitarian assistances.
He stressed that the efforts of the government to provide humanitarian assistance will be consolidated.
Meanwhile, head of the United Nations Development Programme, Akim Stein, said that the UNDP remains committed to supporting Ethiopia's comprehensive development initiatives. The Ministry of Planning and Development Ministry and the Ministry of Finance conferred with the official of UNDP. Minister of Planning and Development, Fitsum Asefa, indicated that the Ethiopian economy has managed to achieve growth despite the war being a stumbling block coupled with COVID-19. Minister of Finance, Ahmed Shede, for his part, pointed out that Ethiopia is constantly undergoing various economic reforms to address its economic problems. Akim Stein, head of the development program with UNDP, lauded the Ethiopian government for the peace agreement with the TPLF.
You're watching Still Explore Ethiopia, a program that introduces you with Ethiopians' culture, tradition, heritage, and a lot more.
Here is a Christian religion, it is Christian church. So how can it stay here? Okay, you know the relation, the correlation of Islam and Ethiopia, Orthodox Church, especially Chinese and others.
This is the museum found in the premises of Raguel Church.
This is the legend, okay?
There are plenty of heritages that tells a lots of history and culture and treasures of Ethiopia.
Especially the church is built architecturally. When we are seeing it, it is a unique architectural design. Ethiopians are keeping their history. It shows that the civilization, ancient civilization of Ethiopia.
It is one of the oldest museums.
Not only me, the whole visitors must bless these people, okay?
You're watching Addis News Hour. Now, in other news, East Africa's Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, signed an agreement on the free movement of people Wednesday as a representative from the 8 African countries gathered in Sudan's capital. In a press conference that followed the meeting, the authority secretary, Dr. Werkene Gabayo, said that a free movement of people agreement and transhuman protocol were signed by 7 countries' representatives, with the exception of Uganda's minister, who was absent from the meeting in Khartoum. Gabayo provided no further details about the details which were signed behind closed doors. He called it a very big achievement for the region. According to a report from African News, East Africa's Intergovernmental Authority on Development in Khartoum was attended by representatives from Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, South Sudan, and Sudan. This 3-day meeting will conclude Friday, November 2. The gathering will be held next year in Djibouti.